who would win in an arm wrestle? And I mean, honestly, I think that's a no-brainer. Have you seen the size of my arms?
I've seen how much fat are on your arms.
Is that?
What if Eddie Hall would also join arm wrestling? Guys, as you know, next month Devon will be going to Colorado to train alongside Brian Shaw. And apparently, Brian Shaw seems to be all in, and he's looking forward to learn more and more about the sport. And as I was seeing some comments on previous videos, one where I talk about Brian joining the sport, I saw a couple of people interested in having Eddie Hall joining arm wrestling as well. And if we stop to look back a little, Eddie is indeed a guy who has been around the arm wrestling circle before. Like, while we only saw Brian Shaw a few times on the arm wrestling table, Eddie has trained a bit with Devon around 4 years ago. And he even got to pull for real against a guy on a World's Strongest Man event apparently. And in there, well, we could see that the hook isn't really Eddie's thing. But I've already noticed that all these strong people who aren't into arm wrestling, most of the time, think that the sport is only shortened down to a basic hook. Like, if you know a bit about arm wrestling, and you look at Eddie Hall, with all that circumference and weight that he has, not being used, you kinda tend to be asking yourself like, what if he was pulling with proper technique? And well, I thought about that, and there's a good number of styles that one can choose to pull on. But you see, every time I looked at Eddie, and I looked at his body type, I really couldn't see a top roller, let alone a hook puller. The only style plus body type that I see Eddie in isn't Jerry Caderatt's. Like, we can clearly see that Eddie isn't really a guy with much leverage, unlike Brian. So in that way, either the posting or the top roll wouldn't seem right for him. Although, having Eddie learning the flopper's press from the start, just like Caderatt does, in my opinion, it would be pretty interesting, because not only Eddie is stronger than Jerry, in upper body strength of course, but Eddie is also heavier, meaning that once he would get behind his shoulder, it could be pretty difficult for one to turn him. But we do know that Jerry's style isn't just about that, since most of Jerry's battles come down to who has the better endurance. But still, I think that is the style that would fit Eddie. But what about you guys? Would you like to see Eddie joining arm wrestling alongside Brian? Leave that in the comments, and thank you so much for watching.